Hello, it's me, Rach Face, back again for my life, my way, my face buried in a book. And I'm here for let me think about it. Well, I can't go shopping because we're in lockdown, so a book review! Yeah. And I'm all for being honest in a book review, because you know what, there's no point in doing a book review unless you're honest. And I'll be honest, I picked this book up like 3 or 4 times, and it's an arc read. So I was on a deadline to read it. And I picked it up, and I put it down. And I read about a line, and then I put it down. And then I read about a line, and I put it down. And this went on for days. Until I finally, after the deadline, sat down and was like, no. I'm going to work through whatever block is stopping me from reading this book, and I'm going to read it. And if I don't enjoy it, I don't enjoy it, but I want to give it a fair go. I'm not one of those that will judge a book by the first chapter or 2 chapters. I want to give it a fair shot, and I want to give it a fair swing before I say, nah, not for me. So what caused me so much drama in my own little head? It was Sweet Temptation by Kelly Kelsey. First thing I think that threw me off. It opens in a flashback, and it opens in a very trigger warning flashback, which I have a feeling the topic of the flashback may have hit buttons from a while ago that, you don't know you have sort of certain buttons until they get pushed. This is one of those. I didn't realize that I had those buttons still until I was reading the flashback at the first few pages. I'm like, yeah, I am going to struggle here. But I pushed through because I was like, well, if the author is already managing to push a button and make you feel something in like the first 3 pages, and it's making you put the book down because you're so not uncomfortable, but also heightened emotionally. It's like, oh my God, something about how she's written this is realistic. It's believable. It's honest, and it's raw. So it was like, yep, I'm going to read it when I'm ready. It wasn't one of those ones I could not read it on that deadline. And it's one of those books where don't try and read it just because everybody's reading it. It's one of those ones where you actually have to read it for you when you are ready to read it. And I know that's weird to say, like, I'm recommending you read a book, but I'm not recommending you go and pick it up right now. I'm recommending you go and buy it right now. But give yourself the time and the space. Read the trigger warnings and give yourself that sort of gap to get yourself ready. And then read it and enjoy it. It is also an age gap romance, like 18 to 28, I think. It's also a teacher-student trope. So kind of a forbidden romance trope as well. So many tropes. And so many tropes that I didn't know I would enjoy. And I enjoyed them. Man, I wish my teachers were like Nate, though. Man, I wish I went to school over there in the US. Why are all my favorite books based in the US? Well, no, actually I've got a few that are based in Australia at the moment. But growing up, all of my favorite books were based in the US. All of my favorite TV shows are based in the US. And I always wanted to live in the US. So it makes sense that these books speak to me. It is the story of Eden and Nate. Eden is 18. She's repeating her last year of high school, which is why she's still in school. She is legal. Big flashing signs. She is legal. They make that point very clear multiple times throughout this book. She is legal. She's of legal age. Nate is 28. They meet when she's in a situation where she shouldn't be, because legal drinking age in the US is 21. And they meet in a bar. And, she's not supposed to be there because she's only 18. But she also doesn't tell him that she's a student. She tells him that she's 21 and just graduated college, university, whatever you want to call it. And he doesn't stipulate that he's a teacher. He says he's a app inventor or something along those lines. So neither of them was honest to begin with. And then it gets very spicy very quickly outside the bar that they were at. And then cue to, I think, the cutest thing or the most awkward thing that a writer can do. He is teaching his class and she walks in late. I love that. Like, that is like probably one of the best things that you can do, is like when like two characters aren't supposed to know each other, and then one of them walks into a situation where the other's in charge, and it's like, oh shit, you lied. You didn't just lie, you lied. It's like that little lie that you took 3 years off your age, so you lied. So a 7-year age gap became a 10-year age gap. A bit of a difference there. And then you have, so Eden is dealing with her mother in rehab and now having to live with her father and his new partner. And her father's not been in her life for years and years and years since he left their mother and hooked up with this younger woman. And then you find out that Nate is heartbroken because 6 years ago, his then fiance cheated on him and hooked up with a new man. And they together stole his tech idea and made millions off it. Enter Nate having to go to a function for the dean of schools. The dean is actually Eden's father, Declan. And we walk in and we meet. We've already met Camille, Declan's new partner, the new stepmom character. And then Nate comes to this function and Camille opens the door and it's like, hang on, these two characters know each other. How do these two characters know each other? Oh, yes, that's right. She's the ex-fiance. Small world, but an amazing world. And then it's all, so the relationship between Eden and Nate sort of is very much an up and down one, where she's well aware that she wants him and he's aware that he wants her, but he is also aware of the stigmatism and public opinion and keeping his and hers reputation intact. And also, when he finds out that that is the dean's daughter, like, yeah, kind of throws a little bit of extra into it. But then it's fascinating to watch how Eden pushes his buttons in the school, because it becomes very clear that male classmates are interested in Eden. And they are quite over the top with how they will announce it. And it's always in his class or in his presence. So it's fascinating to watch because she plays on that and she sort of ups their ante a little bit and like chooses to make his life difficult until he finally gives in. And then she's got this amazing best friend character, Piper, who's based back in her hometown, who comes to visit every now and again. And Nate's got Trent, his friend, and when you see the four of them interacting, it's fascinating. Camille, on the other hand, has this, oh my god, creepy ass brother Brax, who by the end of the book you actually kind of feel sorry for, because you realise he's being played like nobody else in this book has been played. And it's like, you poor unfortunate soul, like, you did not see what was coming. You did not see how much of a puppet you were throughout this whole book. And it really sucks. The whole thing, like, his story, as annoying of a character and as much of a skeezy, perverted character he is, by the end of the book, you actually kind of feel a little bit sorry for him. It's like, how did you not see any of that coming? Like, how are you so blind to it? Camille, on the other hand, gets everything she deserves. We do not waste our time or our breath on that character. So say I. But it is a book that's filled with up and downs. But the relationship between Eden and Nate is so perfect. Like, at no point does he want her to change anything or move faster. In fact, he is constantly putting the brakes on their relationship and being like, whoa, nope, slow down. Slow down. We've got all the time in the world. We aren't going anywhere. He often says, like, It's endgame. We will be married. We will continue our life well past this moment in time. So there's no rush to do anything. A 28-year-old man who is in no rush to do anything with his very young, attractive girlfriend. That was a nice, refreshing change of pace that I am very much happy about. But yeah, age gap, forbidden romance, teacher-student romance, like all that good stuff is buried within this very heavy trigger warning book, which the trigger warnings continue throughout the book, because by the time you get into like the last few chapters, you're like, oh my god, I'm back here again where I'm struggling. But there's so much drama and so much intrigue that like the struggle was like, I must finish the book. And I did. And I loved it. And I'm so glad I found yet another amazing indie author to read. Like, just look at that book. Look at that cover. Like, I'm very much a mouth and an eye person. So when like those are the two main, like when either the mouth or the eyes are the focus of the book on the cover, it's like, yep, I'm going to read this. I'm going to enjoy this. But yeah, highly recommend. But as much as I highly recommend, I recommend you read it at your own pace and you read it for yourself. Don't read it to join a trend or anything like that, because it's not that style of book. It's one that you're going to read for you because it's going to leave an impact on you, or it's going to have an impact on you. But yeah, no, other than that, that's it. Give it a read. Let me know what you think. And I will see you next time. Bye.